Oh, hello and welcome to Aldente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the U stands for evil.
I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have Sarah's story. Now, gamer, again, I promise I didn't write this one. This
Written
is
by Review
not mine.
Cultist.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That author is just a pseudonym.
Sarah's story is written by Shadow Swimmer 77. It is part of the Wicker Saga stories on Creepypasta.wiki, so you can check them out there. And before we get too far ahead, let's do our initial recommendations. I'm going to recommend it.
I'm going to partially recommend it.
I will fully recommend it.
All right. Well, let's dive in and see why we gave such positive and lukewarm positive recommendations.
That is exactly what it is.
Yeah. Starting with the rundown, featuring Sarah. So Sarah and her boyfriend David had a very strange occurrence around their soon-to-be born unexpected child. One night, while driving home from a date, Sarah dreams of bright lights and her dead parents telling her that her child is meant for greatness. And then there's some very strange and painful operations conducted upon her and the child within her before she wakes up in the car and alerts a sleeping David, who was supposed to be driving at the time, about the oncoming truck they're about to hit.
It's always got to be trucks, right?
Yeah. Thankfully, they swerve and miss the truck, and while recovering from this near-death experience, she spills the beans on the pregnancy to David, who was unaware. After that, the two of them stick together, get married, and have Samantha. Their life was pretty good for up until about 6 years later, when David lost his job at Mark's Pharmaceuticals when the company suffered a terrible scandal, which forced them to lay off employees, including David. But a little while later, strangely enough, the company contacted the couple about helping David get a job. Desperate for work, as the company's scandal overshadowed his attempts to seek out other employment, David agreed. The family then moves out to an old house that needs fixing up and maintenance in a nearby town called Arthur's Wake. The Wicker House, in fact. From the start, Samantha, now 6, voices concern to her parents about the place, and Sarah doesn't disagree, but attempts to assuage Samantha's feelings on the matter. It doesn't help that Samantha makes some of these comments every so often, and specifically also made a comment about a lady looking through the upstairs window at them. Just another part of her eccentricities, right? That evening, Sarah has a dream. Well, I almost broke into Martin Luther King's speech there. I have a dream. Sorry.
Nice.
That evening, however, Sarah had a dream of a strange woman enshrouded in fog approaching them on their air mattress. But Samantha gets up from where she's sleeping and pushes the woman out of the room by some unseen power. Sarah wakes up with a cold sweat and a start to find that everyone else is asleep and that the room is perfectly fine. The next day, while working outside, Sarah meets a local old woman named Morgan Fontaine, who warns her to take her family and leave the house, for it is evil. She states that even if she doesn't, she should think of Morgan and she'll come running for help if something bad happens. Even giving Sarah a piece of paper with a name and address to some other guy that could help if things get really bad. That night, bad things happen. Finn. No. Sarah wakes up to find David scratching at the wallpaper, exposing strange glowing runes, and then reveals that he's no longer David, but a Mr. Frank now puppeting his body. It seems David's soul has been plucked from his body by the fog lady, Lilith, and is gone forever. Frank/David attack, but Morgan arrives on the scene and halts his actions for a bit. She tells Sarah to she tells Sarah to take Samantha and run, but as the mother and daughter get to the front door, Morgan is chucked down the stairs as Frank/David is up and moving again.
Raven.
What?
Raven.
Raven, yes. It's here that Jamie, a ghost boy that Samantha had been talking to earlier that day, a ghost boy which Samantha had been talking to earlier that day wrestles control from Frank and attempts to hamper/destroy the vessel Frank is using, i.e. David's body. Sarah helps Morgan and Samantha, and they flee the scene. Morgan tells her to drive with Samantha to the address on the paper from earlier. The man there will be able to help them, and Morgan remains behind. And so, Sarah and Samantha head off to Pennsylvania, where a Mr. Landry can be found. Finn. And it's just now that I'm realizing her name's Sarah, and she has a chosen one child. Ja-ja-ja-ja-ja. Ja-ja-ja-ja-ja.
My God. Absolutely right.
Sarah Connor. Or what's her actual last name? I know it's mentioned once in the story.
I don't think it's necessary to look it up.
It's vital.
Is it vital?
Yes.
All right, fine.
Sarah Wilder. Sarah Wilder.
Not right.
Yeah. I mean, it has the same kind of not syllables, but I guess like kind of like notes as Connor, like Wilder Connor, but isn't quite the same.
They both end with an R.
Yeah. and they're both technically like two. Is it syllables? Like two syllables, like Connor, Wilder.
Yeah. You're right.
Is that actually syllables, or am I thinking of a different word?
Pretty sure it's syllables.
Yep.
Unless I'm dumb right now, which I might be.
Yep. Unit of punctuation having one vowel sound, with or without surrounding consonants. There are 2 syllables in water, and 3 in inferno. So yeah.
Honor.
Wow. I guess this is actually a pretty decent segue to Grammar Inquisition.
And 5 syllables in water inferno.
My God. Yeah, so everyone expects the Grammar Inquisition at this point.
Wow. You're just completely sapped of energy now.
Fuck it, I'm keeping that in. That we're not doing the main like introduction. That's it. That's my segue, folks. I've got
That's
one.
all you get.
Everybody gets one, and I actually have one for the Grammar Inquisition.
Mm.
So we sat there for maybe a minute, the only sound of our panting gasps as our breath turned to clouds of steam in the world to clouds of steam in the cold November night when Morgan stirred. So I feel like it should actually say the only sound was our panting breath, not the only sound of our panting our panting gasps. The only sound was our panting gasps. Rather than
comma in there.
That's another one I would also suggest, like the only sound, comma, our panting gasps, or of our panting.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I prefer your correction, to be honest.
Yeah. But that's the only one that I really cared to find or notice. So, Mikey, the E stands for evil.
I have a conjunction junction.
All right. And next up, the conjunction junction. Toot toot. I just did this for this. That's the skit today. Just
That's your bit.
non-committal, not like barely committal. Segue intros.
Bringing the big energy.
Yeah.
It's not that I blamed him or anything, more that I wanted to figure out what I wanted to do before I let him know what was going on. It was then that I had probably the strangest dream of my life. And something about necessary genetic modification. It was like every nerve in my body was set on fire at the same time. It went on for an eternity, so long I thought I was going to go out of my mind from the pain. But, like I said, I was raised Catholic, and that strange dream had brought my parents to the front of my mind, and I knew it's what they would have wanted. And just like that, we were married. And he was an amazing father to Samantha. But for 6 years, we generally lived life as a happy, normal family. But nobody wanted anything to do with former Mark's employees because of the scandal, and he'd been working there so long it was impossible to brush over it during the couple of interviews he got. It would be wrong to think of it as a one-horse town, because it was home to maybe 12,000 people all told. But no matter how many people lived there, the place was dead. It was 2 stories tall, a paved path from the gate where we stood running up to a short flight of stairs leading to the front door. It's tough to leave your friends. It's just, it feels bad. But I'll admit the place is a little spooky. It's just an old empty house. But, Mommy, who's that lady standing in the window? But all the windows were empty. So, babe, you want to hear something really strange? So, now here we are living in a place called Arthur's Wake. And when I was talking to Creed about the job, he mentioned the locals call it the Wake. And you are? It's actually Miss, but please call me Morgan. And no, dear, I'm afraid I wouldn't voluntarily set foot in that house for all the gold in Fort Knox. But this house is evil, the house and everything that dwells in it. But I don't expect you to believe me. So, because I know you won't listen to me, I hope we can reach a compromise. And for God's sake, keep that paper somewhere safe. And what does Jamie think of Miss Fontaine? But his mommy won't let him. And I've been having weird feelings too, pretty much since we first drove into town, before she said anything to me. And yeah, the house is creepy as hell. But it's just creepy because it's old and dusty and filled with a bunch of outdated furniture. And at that point, I wasn't nearly desperate enough to take that option, and felt foolish enough about it that I didn't even think about mentioning it to him. It must have been several hours later when I was woken by the sounds of something scraping against the wall. It took my eyes a moment to adjust to the relative darkness. It was there that David stood facing the wall, his arm moving up and down, each repetition of the motion accompanied by a long scratching sound. So, how about it, babe? But I'm just about... It only brought me a second. It only bought me a second before he hit me, his shoulder driving me backward into the wall. But your dry spell isn't ending tonight. It's what happens, Frank, and at least to anything that's not a flatulent pit dweller like yourself. And for fuck's sake, watch those rotten stairs. And you never will. And what exactly do you think that would accomplish, my dear? And either way, the essence that belongs to David is no longer resides in that tortured puppet we left pinned to the stairs. But it's okay, Mommy. Daddy wants us to go. And good work calling to me tonight. I'm glad someone remembered. But it's not absolute. And more than just in the way all little girls are important to their mothers. And it's something I've never truly given him for. Never truly forgiven him for. Finn.
I have a few notes from the beginning of that. So when you're mentioning it's like Mark's employees, so in the story it's Mark's as in like Marx. That's Mark's Pharmaceuticals, which is in the story and from another story actually. But we'll get that in my actual thoughts. But
Mark's
in
Work Warehouse.
yes, up here in Canada we have a certain company like a sporting goods and like outdoors and work clothes sort of store called Mark's. That is, and so that's all I could think of was Mark's employee. It's like,
RKS.
yeah, MAR. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then the other one was like when like they're in bed and like he's talking about like, oh, they call this place the Wake and so that, and it's like, and who are you? And then it transitions to a different person talking, like I think Morgan or something like that, and it's just like, what?
Why are you in my bed? Who are you?
Who are you? So yeah.
Yeah, the context of these things can be kind of weird when like he grabs a bunch of sentences throughout a story that start with words that they probably shouldn't, like get ends or buts, because there's always better words to use.
Indeed. Perfect examples of that being again like when she's talking about like that horrible pit demon, but I know you won't. And for God's sake, like watch the bad stairs, but I know you won't. And it's like those are just, like literally like fragmented lines from different parts of the story to different people. But like the way you read them, it almost sounded like she was like actually like I was like being kind of snarky and concerned to the demon she was fighting. But yeah. Gamer, do you have any grammar in yellow?
I have one or two.
All right.
I have two. So this first one, I've never heard of the town called Arthur's Wake. It would be wrong to think of it as a one-horse town because it was home to maybe 12,000 people all told. First off, this is correct, for one thing, but I thought I wasn't. I thought the saying was all told, as in TOLLED, as in you're taking a toll of the amount of people. But like looking it up, that's not the case. Like, because apparently, back in ye olden times, to quote unquote tell was to take count of. Even though we don't use that definition for tell anymore, we keep the term and the spelling of all told, which I hate, of course, but that's how it is.
Honestly, I thought you were going to possibly ask about like one horse town. It's like no, actually that's the saying.
Yeah.
It means a small and unimportant place.
Yeah, they only have one horse.
Yeah, it's basically like it's like a one-trick pony kind of thing. Like it's
Well, I mean,
insignificant.
nowadays they have 0 horse towns because I mean, horses aren't really a thing anymore.
okay.
And
Look,
most towns are 0 horse towns, honestly.
yeah.
Although there is a lot of horsepower in all the towns.
Yeah, and to be fair, like I mean, there are also if you count the boats that somebody might have in their on their property, the horsepower.
Boats. Everyone has a fucking car, dude.
I know. Yeah. I just mean like
boats.
because of horsepower. You said horsepower, and that brought me up to boats and like motors.
The first thing I think of with horsepower is the cars that billions of people
really?
are driving every day.
Okay, this is gonna be a me stupidness moment. Do cars use horsepower? Like is that actually do people use horsepower when like referring to like,
my brain.
Yes.
Like, really?
Yeah, dude. That's how you measure the power of a horse, of an engine.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything with an engine has horsepower.
Okay, so it has to do with the engine. Okay, my bad.
Wow.
You're welcome, gamer. I'm making you look smart.
Yeah. You're taking my job. I'm supposed to be the dumb one here. You took my job. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I can go on with the other one. I'm too flabbergasted.
Okay, listen, I've only had like one cup of coffee, all right?
Uh-huh. Sure. Anyways, I'll move on anyways.
Yeah.
I stood in the room we were sleeping in, and from where I was, I could see the 3 of us huddled together on the air mattress. I feel like that one's edging to the point of being a run-on, because it needs space to breathe, like a couple of commas. Just because it's a long-ish sentence with no breaks. So I would put 2 commas in here, where it would go, I stood in the room we were sleeping in, comma, and from where I was, comma, I could see the 3 of us held together on the air mattress.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's all I got for grammar.
Okay. Then on to the meat and potatoes, otherwise known as the actual thoughts. So I got to start with this one here. I was raised Catholic, so I knew what my parents would have said and that they would have been more than happy to pitch in and help with raising the kid. Loving but stern, they were good parents and would have been even better grandparents. Unfortunately, icy roads and oak trees don't care about the quality of people they affect. That was as true 10 years ago as it was today. Wow, that was dark. Because when it finally clicked in my head that the parents were dead from a car crash, it hit me way more than I thought it would than I thought it would when I realized that by the end. Because it was the parents she was raised Catholic, they were living in stern, they would have approved. And now that I'm reading back, it's oh no, it's all in the past tense. Everything's in the past tense for the parents. It's yeah. But yeah, that one moment was
it's kind of masked because you don't know right away that they are dead because they're referring back to the past. So at the time they would have not appreciated that. But
exactly, yeah.
It's also because they're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then my next one here is everything was fine until the drive home when I dozed off in the passenger seat. It was then that I had probably the strangest dream of my life. In the dream, I couldn't move. I couldn't move, not even a muscle. There were these incredibly bright lights shining in my face. So bright they hurt to look at. but I couldn't close my eyes. Ah, I believe this is tied to the story Lights, which was an earlier Wicker Saga story. And actually, I think that story was told from David's point of view. And as we kind of go on, like again, like Sarah wakes up and then David is like yelling at her or yelling at him to like wake up, and because like there's an oncoming truck, and that's where the lights were. But like he had the same kind of dream as Sarah did, where he was talking to some entities that were masking themselves as like loved ones. This is going to be the start of my connective tissues time, by the way, with other Wicker Saga stories throughout this tale. Because there's a fair amount of nods
sure.
and collections. And that's a great segue to my next comment, or my next quote. He'd been a packer at Mark's Pharmaceuticals for 8 years when a fire destroyed most of their production facility. You may have heard about it. The company's founder and CEO went missing during an accident, or during the accident, and the company itself was brought under investigation for illegal drug testing based on things uncovered during the cleanup. And at first I was like, wait, is this tied to the story A Bad Night? Which is another Wicker Saga story that we read and covered. And update, yes it is. This is the one. That's the one where like the detective is like looking into missing children, and it turns out that this like company, or like the people behind this company, are like doing some weird experimentation on children. And there's like a bonfire in the woods, and like some really weird, fucked up, like one of the kids ends up eating their parents.
As kids often do.
Yeah, well, experimental children, like mutated experimental children. Yeah. But on to my next one here. They wanted him to start as soon as possible. Would he take it? Sorry, would he take it? Looking at it now, it seems odd. I've never heard of any corporation doing anything like that, but at the time it made a certain sense. I thought they might be using it as a PR stunt to try to take some of the pressure off the things they'd been accused of, at least in the court of public opinion. Even so, when you're drowning and someone throws you a rope, you don't think too hard about what the other end is attached to. And I was like, reading this, and I was like, yeah, that is definitely like a red flag. Like, corporations are not that nice. And like in story, like in the narrative, it's like, yeah, no, that's definitely that's a trap. Sort of like point of view, like from a genre point of view, and like from like we're reading a horror story, so like, yeah, that company's not altruistic at all.
Of course, but also like realistically, if a company is under like a bunch of scandals and shit, they might just be doing that to cover their asses and like avoid legal shit, you know?
Absolutely. And that's actually the second part of my comment here, which I actually liked how it was rationalized, in that that does make sense. Yeah. And it even fits like an economic horror bend, like, oh, like we can only afford to like oh, we've like sunk all our money into this house that turns out to be haunted or whatever. We can't move, we can't leave this haunted house, or we can't move because otherwise we'll be homeless. So like we're kind of stuck with the situation we're in. It's that kind of like economic horror. Like they're in debt, like they're out, they're on the like they're out at sea, like floundering from money issues and stuff. And then this company like offers them this job. It's like, yeah, of course you're going to take that, even though it's clearly going to like throw you into a horror scenario.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's that kind of situation.
It's a nice natural way to force the characters to be in this house that they don't want to be in.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like they're in there that long.
No. What was it, 2 days?
Yeah, literally like less than a weekend.
Yeah, I think there was 2 sleeps there.
Yeah, 2 sleeps and some unfortunate later. But I'll continue on here. So the next one I have here is even though it was only a couple 100 miles from where I'd spent my whole life, I'd never heard of the town called Arthur's Wake. Oh, you sons of bitches! He's taking care of the Wicker House, isn't he? This is like literally like in my like in the moment as I'm reading the story. That was my reaction. And then the update, which is actually like another quote later, like shortly after. David turned the car onto Blackwood Drive, and soon we arrived at our destination, parking in front of the high iron gates at the foot of the property. So, yes. Also, is this story going to connect all the threads together from previous stories? Update. Also, yes. For the most part, I think there's like a couple of stories that I didn't like catch nods into in this one, but like most of the Wicker Saga stories that we have read up to this point are mentioned in this story, in one way or another.
It felt like this is the Avengers of the
I was
saga.
thinking that too. I was like, is this going to be the end? Like, we're leading up to the end game.
Yeah.
Because they're like, but especially with the ending, like what happens? Like, oh yeah, we're like, it's like, yeah, it's very Avengers-y. It's very like getting all the like everything's coming together. And actually, I think that's one of my comments in like a later note. Is like, that I'm going to keep repeating. Everything's coming together. But moving on to the next quote I have. Samantha leaned in close, Samantha leaned in close to me. But mommy, she said, her voice dropping to a whisper, who's that lady standing in the window? Nope, out. I cannot tell you how many times the niece cultists used to pull this on us.
Really?
Yes. Like creepy shit like that. I've told you guys about the Joke Master, right? Okay.
I don't remember that
Story
one.
time. So this was like during like 2020, so like during the pandemic stuff, and so like we couldn't go anywhere much. So niece cultists got to learn how to ride a bike or a trike out on our driveway. And so usually that would be like one of us in a chair, just kind of watching her, making sure she's doing okay. She just does circles around our driveway.
Yes.
She stops dead after like the third or fourth round.
Collapses off of the truck.
No, like just
wrong type of dead.
Yeah, just stops her bike, like full stop, and is staring at the woods and the hills behind the house, behind my shoulder, like past my shoulder, for a long moment. And I even like say that, hey, niece cultist, what are you looking at? Like just kind of jokingly, it's like what? It's like, oh, it's the Joke Master. He likes to tell jokes, but I don't like to see his face. And I literally could not look at the forest behind us, like, and I was like, okay, it's time to go inside.
That's awesome.
Or like, there's been one apparently from my sister. She when niece cultist was a little bit younger, my sister would wake up in the morning in the middle of the night with like, because they'd sleep together, and niece cultist would be like up in bed looking out, like looking at the door like that's closed, and my sister would be like, daughter cultist, what are you looking at? It's like, oh, it looks like there's a figure at the door. And she'd look, and then my sister would look down there over there and see that it was like, there's for a second she'd see a dark form there, but then she'd realize that was her coats and stuff that were hanging on the hook on the door, and she hated it. Like she immediately took it down the next morning because of that.
Yeah, understandable.
Because like my niece cultist was just like was just sitting there upright at night in the middle of the night while my sister was asleep. So
I wonder if she's doing it on purpose.
Oh yeah, no. I think at a certain point she did start doing it because she thought it was funny, and like she knew that it would get a reaction out of us.
Yeah.
But like when she was much younger, like a little bit even younger than that, I think she had quite a vivid imagination. Like again, such imaginary friends like the stick witch who lives in her closet, who crawls up around the ceiling at night when people go to bed, or the wood witch that lives in the woods behind our house, or the Joke Master.
Or
turns
the
out she's
that lives at the beach.
Yeah. Yes. Or like another one actually that she had. Again, I'm just kind of like spilling the beans on all my niece cultists, like old imaginary like friends and spooky like sayings.
Yes.
But like another one was like that she had a sister that lived in the mirror named Bloody Mary. Or her ghost family that she visited in her dreams.
This is fine.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah. Moving on. So yeah, basically what I'm getting here is like I really connected to like how like creepy Samantha was being to Sarah. Because Sarah, I get it.
Yeah.
I too have a niece cultist who is very similar to this. In fact, I think my parents have even once said that like my niece cultist is an old soul. Based on
Yeah.
like that she says things that are a little bit older than she should be saying, kind of thing. Like not just like saying things like bad things that, like adults say, but like just saying things that like you don't really expect a child to say. Like,
So basically, if there's a movie adaptation of Sarah's story, niece cultist would be cast as
it probably would be the perfect
Samantha.
casting member.
Yeah, yeah.
But I digress. I'll move on to my next thing here.
Okay.
Um, from the black depths of the entryway, two eyes glowed red, terrible and hungry. I tried to scream, but whether because I was in a dream or I was paralyzed by fear, no sound escaped my lips. I stood unable to move, but only capable of watching as a shape gradually formed around the eyes. Sleep paralysis? Or aliens? Or both? Because the story technically has aliens and sleep paralysis. Because there's sort of there's an argument that could be made that the dream she had with her husband or her soon to be husband in the car, that was actually aliens doing some kind of some sort of operation. Maybe it was angels, maybe it was some other force or something like that. But it does kind of have like sort of the telltale signs of like an alien visitation. But yeah, so aliens, sleep paralysis together in one story.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll move on to the next thing I have here. Closer and closer she came, eyes shining gleefully, until abruptly she stopped, her joyful expression replaced with one of confusion. In that moment, I found my dream self could move again, and turning my head, saw that Samantha had moved to stand beside me. Hand raised, palm forward, she stared directly at the woman in white, her face serious, her gesture seeming to halt the thing when she stood. So, reading the story, I kept kind of getting like Stephen King style vibes. Specifically this one, like it almost kind of gave me like a Doctor Sleep vibes, with the whole like great old evil dwelling in a place that is repelled by or even stopped by a child who has like a preternatural gift. Like if I'm basing this more on the movie that came out of the adaptation of Doctor Sleep, but in that movie Doctor Sleep, there's literally a scene where like a child with the shining or the shinning manages to like basically like lock up a spirit that's haunting a house with her mind, like that's just like with like a psychic or like a dream, like a mind prison kind of thing. And also again just more callbacks to previous stories, like again like this is clear the lady in the fog from the previous story that we read not like a week or two ago. So
Glad it's fresh.
yeah, that definitely helped. And honestly, like as I was reading the story, I did find myself like still able to recollect stories that we had covered like a few years back. Like it's been a hot minute since I've read Lights and some of the other Wicker Saga stories, but I still found myself like being able to like realize, oh, that's a reference to this story, and this is a reference to this story. I may not remember everything that happened in those stories, but I remember enough, or I still have that enough like backed up in my memory that like, oh, like that connects, that like that correlates. That I was able to even like go back and like skim through and check to make sure, like, oh, is this story? Yeah, this is the right story. This actually happened in that one. And again, moving on to the next quote I have. She was dressed against the cold, but her head was uncovered, her dark hair unbound and streaked throughout with varying shades of gray. She smiled slightly. Sorry to startle you, dear. I just wanted to come by and introduce myself. I'm a neighbor of sorts. Live just down on the other side of the street there. I didn't notice your car until this morning. Must have gotten in must have gotten in last night. Yes, we did. My husband David is the new caretaker. I'm Sarah Wilder, and you are? Morgana, dear. Morgana Fontaine. So many callbacks! Because again, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Because Morgana or Morgan Fontaine was the girl that escaped the Wicker House in the previous story, the Lady in the Fog, and also was the vampire hunter or monster hunter from One Last Drink. So again, and now we're seeing her even older now. And now like the time has passed, and now she's even older in this iteration. Now she's living right next to the Wicker House, I guess, like watching Vigil at this point. Also and actually my next quote is going to go tackle into a little bit of this, but also she kind of fits the trope of, again, a certain character from, again, Stephen King writing, of like the helpful old neighbor, or like the helpful neighboring, like senior or older figure who like who's there to help and like impart some wisdom on like what's going on and such.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like the old man in Pet Sematary, it's like, sometimes dead is better. Or the old,
you don't want to go down that road from South Park.
Not down that road. Or like the maintenance guy from The Shining itself, like the other guy that like takes care of like the machines and stuff, who's on vacation. So yeah, there's a bunch of that kind of things in the story. And again, my next quote in comments is going to just kind of echo this a little bit more. So, because I know you won't listen to me, I hope we can reach a compromise. First, when trouble comes, I want you to think of my name as hard as you can. Some unfortunate past experiences with the house have left me a little psychic. She's got the shinin. Also, again, wow! I brought up Dr. Sleep earlier, and like as I was reading the story, I was writing down my notes, and like I wrote down that Dr. Sleep comment, and then like we get this part, it's like, wow, like legitimately, like this is getting very like reminiscent of that stuff in King writing, like The Shining, Dr. Sleep. I may be seeing some of the inspiration for this story, or like some of the ideas that were proposed. This isn't a jab at the story at all, or the series. Like, again, the Wicker Saga stories do have a bit of a flair of Stephen King writing, or like that type of writing and those influences. So I think that's going to happen when you're writing like horror fiction. People are going to see like some inspirations or some like themes that are similar from other like larger works. So
it's a remix these days.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like so many ideas have been done. Like,
yeah,
it's incredibly difficult to be completely unique.
Yeah, and maybe this is like coincidental. Like maybe like this wasn't in Shadow Swimmer's like mind while they're writing the story, but like it's just something that's popping in my head as I'm reading the story. Like, oh, that reminds me of this. Like just how I'm connecting to the story a little bit.
So I'm not gonna lie, when you said like, remember when there's trouble, call DW.
God damn it!
I thought that's what I had in my head when she said that.
Yeah, that's good. But I'll move on to the next one. The next bit of connective tissues time. Mm-hmm. Second, thanks to my gift, I know that if and when you make it out of the wake in one piece, you have nowhere to go. This is a picture with the name of a man and address written on the back. Go to the address, find the man. He won't know you or me, but show him the picture. He'll help you. And as soon as I like heard this part, I was like, wait, doesn't a character, I think a mother and a daughter, like show up at a character's door at the end of the story? And I realized, oh, that's from The Soldier, which is another Wicker Saga story, where Mr. Landry, like, and it's mentioned at the end of this story, like all but basically confirms that. But like basically like at the end of the Soldier story, Mr. Landry's in his apartment after dealing with his ordeal, and he gets a knock at the door, and it's Sarah and Samantha. So it's like
Wow.
It all comes together. It's all like
forming. I thought that was familiar, but I couldn't connect it until now.
Yeah, no, like I retain like details like that, like just like little like bits of details from other stories that we've read over the years. And just replace all the important stuff like math and for for useless crap like creepypastas.
Yeah.
I say affectionately.
Mm.
But yeah, I just had this feeling, and I feel like I'm going to keep repeating this, but like the Wicker Saga, it's all coming together. We're reaching the end game.
Yeah, this is doing what like a lot of other stories don't do that have like multiple parts that are completely separate from each other. It's actually trying to pull them together.
Yeah, no, for sure. But we'll move on to the next thing here. Don't worry, Mommy, Samantha quietly spoke up. Miss Fontaine's nice, she frowned. Mr. Frank doesn't like her. Confused, I looked down. Who's Mr. Frank, Munchkin? A slightly panicked look crossed her face before she answered. No one, Mommy. Okay, I've got to stop reacting to every time a character from a previous story and their events are brought up. Because again, it was like, oh, it's Frank. That fucker's back.
Yep. Fuck that guy in particular.
Yeah. Like, goddamn. And then, but at least Jamie's back and does like get some whooping on his or does do a
Self whooping on him.
You know, does a little bit of whoop ass on Frank, like spiritually and supernaturally. So, yeah. Then the next thing here, oh yeah, so this is another one where I like reacted in the moment, and then like later I was like, yeah, this is basically confirmed it, or to a degree. I leaned back, feeling a smile play across my lips. Now about those steps, David laughed. Yes, ma'am. They just moved to the top of my priority list. Come here. The kiss was sweet and long. I wish I'd thought to enjoy it more. I wish I knew for sure it was David that kissed me. That's foreboding. I get the feeling David doesn't make it out of this.
Kind of spoilers, honestly.
A little bit, yeah. Well, but also like we are reading a story in from somebody in the present, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, it's a little spoiler. It's a little bit, but also I hate to keep bringing up King's work, like Stephen King, but I think David might be getting Jack Torranced in this story. Jack Torrance is the caretaker of the Overlook Hotel in The Shining. Jack Nicholson's character, who goes crazy and tries to kill his family and then bites it at the end. So,
update.
What?
Yeah, update. Yeah.
Update. Yeah, kinda. Actually, no, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the Shining, he gets like manipulated and like kind of like enthralled. In this one, it's more like his soul is removed from his body and a new soul goes in. But it's basically the same kind of situation. And then the next thing here. So after all like the this is like when David gets Jack Torranced and goes,
That's
here's Johnny.
now.
Yeah, when he gets here's Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
And goes
Davey.
after his wife, and then like Morgana shows up and does some like judo kicks and like does some senior kung fu, and like basically immobilizes David Frank for a little bit, and then we get this part here. Damn it, no, he's my husband. I can't just. The slap came out of nowhere and sent a series of bells ringing through my head. Sarah, listen to me. Your husband is gone. There's nothing you can do for him. That thing lying there is just a meat sack currently occupied by the spirit of a very twisted individual. No matter how impressive you think what I just did was, I won't slow him down for long. Sorry, it won't slow him down for long. Probably only a minute or two. Even that time will be worthless if Lilith, mother of fucking demons, realizes what's going on and takes time out of filleting the remains of your husband's soul to come deal with us. Now. There's no time. So let me briefly monologue about how there's not much time and we're screwed if we delay. I,
too, though.
I'm being critically silly here.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, I actually do like this moment. It shows the direness of the situation, that like this clearly capable, like seasoned monster fighting girl, like lady, is just getting lucky and is terrified and outmatched. While also cementing the fate of poor David. Like it's all but confirmed that David's soul is gone. Like it's no longer
Yeah.
Also, we get more confirmation on who/what the Lady Wicker was or is from the previous stories, like from the Wicker House, and then also from the Lady in the Fog. More than just some like mere vampiric entity, which I think is what we were kind of thinking at the in the last one. She's just straight up Lilith, which makes sense as historically, or I guess biblically, Lilith is known to be the mother of monsters or the mother of demons.
And demons and devils are different, right? Because if they're the same thing, then she's the mother of Satan.
No. Yes, and so devils, I think, are generally like fallen angels. Demons are malicious spirits that were never human. I think there's different cosmologies, so like there's different religions and different
Systems
mythologies
for that, yeah.
Yeah, different mythologies like interpret them differently, but like basically like demons are like evil, malevolent spirits that like were never given human form. Whereas like devils are more like they're more like things that fell to hell. Like usually like angels and stuff like that. But that's one interpretation. There's other interpretations of it. And then the next thing, actually the last thing I have here is you fucking fuck. I'll slit you from balls to throat, you little. Blood sprayed from Jamie's mouth as he coughed and he grinned. His teeth stained crimson. Wow, Pops. That's quite the imagination you've got. Thanks for the idea. Jamie turned the utility knife in his hand and plunged the blade into his belly. He momentarily gasped from the pain before gritting his teeth and jerking the blade to the side, ripping the cut open wide. And there's a lot more visceral description that happens, but I'm not going to read it all. Wow, literally my note starts with I know this is a horror story, but maybe the person narrating this, i.e. Sarah, who's also the wife of the former occupant of the possessed body, may want to get herself and her child the hell away from said body as it's being mutilated. Like that's going to be a therapist's wet dream of a gig later on in their lives. Like
You're not wrong.
Like the way like they're watching this and she's like she clearly watched the whole thing as like, she's describing it in full detail. Samantha's right there watching this as well. Her father is being like slit balls to throat. And like his entrails are spilling down down the stairs.
I'm assuming it's a deer caught in the headlights thing.
Yeah, very, very much. Again, this is a horror story, so we need to have some visceral horrific graphic depictions. But at the same time, like, I as soon as I started seeing that stuff, I would have fucking doped out. But maybe it is like a deer in the headlights. Maybe it's like that she entered a fugue state, basically, rather than a flight state.
Plus, we have to see it anyways because we, as the readers, have to know what happened. So even if she grabbed her child and turned away, knowing their luck, it would be like in Hot Shots or Naked Gun or whatever it was, where they turn around, don't look, and there's a mirror right there, so they can still see it anyways.
Or like Samantha, dear, don't look. She puts her over her shoulder and starts running out the door while giving Samantha pure, like, full view of what's happening behind them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And just like the camera would just like the whole like the scene that like sets up like she picks up Samantha, puts her on her shoulder, looking back, runs out, and then the camera just like watches Samantha's face getting more and more horrified as like horrible sounds happen in the background. But yeah, that's all I've got really for my actual thoughts for Sarah's story. So, Mikey, the E stands for evil.
Right. So, my first and really main issue that I have with this is the parents at the beginning.
Okay.
Because I did not realize they were dead until we get the dream sequence and it's revealed, oh, the dad is dead. And then later we get the wedding and find out, oh, all the parents are dead. Like, it.
So you missed that part of
Well, the problem is with that paragraph that says that it, because it's in past tense and she's currently in shock about being pregnant.
Mhm.
So I assumed it was still about the pregnancy, and the last sentence that says, unfortunately, icy roads and oak trees don't care about the quality of people they affect. That has been true 10 years ago as is today. I just took that as foreshadowing that she was going to get in an accident and lose the baby.
I could kind of see that. Yeah, I was gonna like fight you on this, but like I can kind of see what you're going at. Like it, yeah.
She was just referencing her parents, though. Like,
Yeah.
literally just referenced them.
Yeah, there is also that.
But the problem is that it starts off, basically talking about her pregnancy, and then she's going through that stuff, and then that her parents could be helpful.
Right. The main
could have
topic
been
of that paragraph was talking about the pregnancy. The parents were brought up, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but half that paragraph is about the parents. The first half is about like the actual pregnancy and such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I did not catch that the parents were dead. So when it came to the dream and, oh, the father's dead, like, for me, that came out of Left Town.
I see.
Okay.
So, and the fact that most of the story is in past tense because, it's past tense.
Literally being told by Sarah. Yeah. After the event.
Yeah. Like, that whole section didn't register with me that they were dead.
You would have wanted like a little bit more like,
would you
like have a confirming sentence, like maybe at the end of that paragraph saying like, unfortunately, like with my parents gone, like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
but I don't know, because the way that it describes the parents being dead, like that flowery way of like icy roads and oak trees don't care, like that's a really like impactful way of telling the reader that they're dead. But to make it clearer that that's actually a thing, it could be separated. So like there's a paragraph talking about the parents, and there's the paragraph before that is talking about the pregnancy. So they're actually separated.
Separated from that, yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
and because of that sentence and whatnot at the end, I was expecting there to be an accident, and then when the Mack truck comes out of nowhere, I was expecting there to be icy roads and an oak tree.
But
it was winter.
Because it was. Yeah, was it? January?
Yeah, they said it was winter. There was
right.
no snow, but they said it was winter.
No, you're right. Yep. Or was that when they were at the Wicker House?
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, that was 6 years later.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm partially on your side. Like, I think Gamer's suggestion is probably the best like compromise for this. Is like move the paragraph, the part of the one or two sentences that talk about the pregnancy, like to the paragraph above, and then just kind of isolate the parents. Like the parents would have been good parents or would have been good grandparents had they not died because the icy roads and oak tree stuff. As a separate, like isolated paragraph.
Yeah,
because like it is very impactful, like that ending. Like if you catch it, but yeah,
but if you don't catch it, it leaves you scratching your head and then wondering later, where are the oak trees and icy roads?
Fair.
So that was really my main gripe with this. Was that I didn't catch that because I again assumed that the paragraph was about the pregnancy and that she was going to lose the baby or something because oak trees don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, but in hindsight, now that we have shown you the path.
Yeah, well, but the thing is,
Mikey's gonna die on this hill.
hindsight is 2020. Like, even when I went back to this to reread it, that's when I clued in, like, oh, yeah, I can see the parents are dead. But I did not catch that the first time I read it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, at the second reading, I already had the knowledge they were dead because I'd gotten past the part about how they got married and there were no parents.
Yeah,
they were dead.
Kind of.
It sounds like this is more of a grammar issue than anything, because like it needs to be put, like the paragraph should be changed a bit to make it a little more obvious for everyone.
Yeah,
because it is a sticking point.
Yeah,
because this kind of ties into this, I think, a little bit. So one thing we should point out again, like the story references a lot of other stories, and including like this whole like scene where like she's in a dream sequence. And then wakes up and like the truck's about to hit her and stuff like that. Like that whole situation, like that's straight up from another story that was in the Wicker Saga series. It's a story called Lights. And I remember enough about that story that like when I got to this part of the when I realized that like this was basically that same story, I knew that that's where what was going on here. Now this story was, as the author note points out at the top of the story on the wiki, this was an entry for a demon/devil contest. So this was like supposed to be kind of this was entered to fit a possible like standalone sort of story. And I think for the most part, it does a good job of just like, if you know, you're getting a little bit more, but if you didn't read those other stories and just read this one, like you'd be fine for the most part. But like, this is maybe one. Oh, and that's what I'm not 100% sure, but like, I feel like there's enough here that's explained that kind of just like mentions things that you don't need to, but you really should read the other stories.
Yeah, because even like Jamie and Frank, like you get through the words of the story that they were previously killed, and father and son and stuff like that.
And even and like Morgana, like Morgana showing up and like she introduces herself and like we like she fits the bill of like, again, that trope of like the kindly old woman, kindly old person that like helps the new family that moves into like the spooky place kind of thing. But she is a character from another story. And then again, like what I was saying here, like what to kind of tie into what Mikey was saying earlier about like his problem with this part of the story was like, because I knew about I remember the story of the lights and stuff of that, it made more sense to me. But like, yeah, like, is it going to make more sense to somebody who hasn't read all those stories or didn't remember that stuff? And so just reading this kind of like fresh, like, is it like, is Mikey more in the right than perhaps we think he is on this situation? Because again, like, I still think it's fine, but like, it's like we all have different, we all see things differently. So like I'm not saying your opinion here is invalid. It's just like it's a different take on it because like you see the story a little bit differently than I do.
Yep.
So, and it kind of goes into like the greater thing of like, does this story stand alone well, for this like contest entry versus like being part of like the greater Wicker Saga mythos? Because it certainly does a lot of collecting and tying threads together.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like it's more of a alien versus demon scenario.
Yeah.
Because the aliens did things to the daughter, Samantha.
Yeah, because they knew something was coming, and the daughter was meant for greatness or meant to like help, like basically she's the chosen one meant to save the world from demons maybe.
I'm surprised you're like hanging on to the alien part as much. It seems more like a angels versus demons thing, because like both of the parents are dead, and they are like basically helping to make their child's child OP.
Well, here's the thing. Aliens could have gotten into their minds and like chosen a form that was like most pleasing and most like calming to them. Kind of situation. Now, here's the thing. This is the problem with, not a problem, but this is like sort of a thing that we get, an argument we can get into, or debate we can get into here, of like aliens versus angels. It's the same thing with Signs, the M. Night Shyamalan movie, which deals with like crop circles and aliens. There's actually a theory that's spawned from that movie, was like, was it aliens or was it actually fallen angels and demons that were invading? Because they sort of have the telltale signs of supernatural, like demons and so that, in i.e. like he was a the Mel Gibson's character was a father, like a reverend, who had kind of lost his faith, but his daughter had put all these cups of water all around the house, and so when the water fell on the alien that attacked them in the house, it started melting him. So it could be like, oh, that was like blessed water because it was in the home of a reverend and was actually burning this thing because it was a demon. And again, tying back to this story, like again, the angels versus aliens, like angels and aliens, sometimes like there's speculation that like, or like theories out there that like angels and aliens are kind of one and the same, or like they're like angels of old are like, we are now perceiving them as aliens because of like our culture and the times, or vice versa. Like, we thought they were angels in the past because that's the lens we had, was like through religion, but now we see them as like actually being alien beings from other planets and stuff like that. So it's the whole like Ashton, or the whole like Ashton Clark Smith line again, like anything, any comparatively advanced science is
indistinguishable from magic.
Yes, thank you. Could not get the words out. But yeah, the story, I feel like the Wicker Saga, like especially with Lights and with the beginning of Sarah's story, sort of like puts into question, like, are they aliens that are like tampering with them, or is it in fact like a force of good, or like angels that are like prepping Samantha to be the new savior against like an unholy like hell invasion from Lilith down the road? It could go either way, because at that point it's academic.
New Doom guy.
Yeah, exactly. Samantha's Miss Doom. But yeah, like at a certain point, I think in this Wicker Saga story, it almost becomes a little like the debate of whether or not like it was angels or aliens becomes just like academic. Like they are clearly some kind of force opposing whatever like dark forces are interacting with the world in these previous stories we've been reading in the Wicker Saga. But yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, you betcha.
So Mikey, that's all you got?
No, you got bitch. That's kind of like
I didn't mean to say it like that, but like
I know.
Well, the other thought is that this gave me more supernatural vibes, like the TV show. When Morgana showed up with the I assume holy water and salt.
Yeah, for sure. Also, her showing again, like I said earlier, like it's a mix of like supernatural and also The Shining, because like the kid in that story, because in this story, Samantha's the one that calls out to Morgan that like psychically to send her coming, and
actually.
That's what it insinuates, is that like that's when Morgan thanks Samantha for like calling on her. I'm glad somebody did, as she like stares like kind of like disapprovingly to Sarah, who didn't like call didn't think of her.
I don't remember who she was like looking at, so I don't know who the acquisition was towards.
I'm pretty sure it was towards Sarah, because Samantha. I think it's insinuated that Samantha, like when Sarah's being attacked by Fravid, or Samantha was the one that like psychically sent a message to Morgan. But that's a very similar situation that happens in The Shining, where like the kid in The Shining sends a psychic message to, again, the old caretaker maintenance guy from that used to work for the that was working for the hotel, and he leaves his vacation to go and help them at the hotel.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a very similar. I think it's a very similar situation. And again, maybe it feels like some inspiration, but it might just be like, again, just a coincidental thing. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
All right, and that's the end of my actual thoughts.
All right. Gamer.
That's me. Let's see. This is referring to one of the rooms in the Wicker House. The room at the far end of the upstairs hallway wasn't the biggest, but it was the only one not filled with old, musty pieces of furniture covered in white sheets, making them look like oddly shaped ghosts. So we decided to spend the night. In fact, other than the hideous yellow wallpaper covering the walls, I thought David and I could eventually take this room as our own. So she must be referring to like the pattern of the wallpaper here, because like all shades of yellow are fantastic, realistically.
But you're not biased at all.
No, as the gamer in yellow, I'm not biased whatsoever. No.
Yeah.
And then my next one, upon hearing that David had like the bright light dream before the near accident as well. Says, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could David and I have both had similar dreams right before our almost accident? Was that much of a coincidence even possible? And to that I say yes. You both had lights of a semi-truck blaring in your face as you're trying to sleep. I feel like dreaming that there's a bright light blaring in your face seems pretty realistic.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then like the some of the things that you could maybe chalk up other parts of that dream to like, well, her fear of her concerns or worry about the baby thing, his concerns with his date, and like maybe he like kind of subconsciously was aware that something was up, like maybe of a birth or a pregnancy beforehand. So yeah,
her worry with her parents could be like, oh, my parents don't approve of this, so they're fucking with the baby and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Or like they wouldn't have approved because like we're not even married, and like, oh, she's gonna be born out of wedlock kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
So way to pull a Mikey and mundanify the that part of the story.
Somebody had to do it.
It was just a dream, guys.
Yeah, it's all a dream.
Yeah.
Except for the stuff later that's absolutely not a dream. Anyways, moving on.
Well, I mean, even like there's even a dream sequence with like where the lady in the fog shows up and Samantha gets up and blasts her with their shining powers.
That's true. They went to bed and then had a weird dream and then woke up for that. But how do you know if they woke up? Maybe that's just a dream. Waking up from the dream within the dream.
Yeah. And then like maybe they woke up and like maybe like that day like she did have an encounter with Morgan and stuff outside, but it was just like some crazy old kook out, like across the road. And then the events of that night, like when they're sleeping, then it's just a nightmare and so that, and so like the whole time, even up to her like driving away with Samantha to Pennsylvania, still a dream.
Yep, totally. Just wake up and they're back in the house. Oh fuck!
God damn it! Oh no!
Yeah, no, absolutely not. But either way, right after that, it says, that's pretty crazy. Do you remember anything else? David's voice was growing softer. Not yawn. I could do a yawn noise, but I'm not going to. Not really. Just something about a woman in white. And to that, I'm like, it's fine. I'm sure Sarah didn't want to sleep anyway. Like, that morning, she was just like spooked with her child apparently saying that there's a woman in white in the house that they never found. And then that dropped right after as they're trying to go to bed. Yeah, she ain't getting any sleep.
It's fine. I didn't need to sleep tonight anyway.
No. I guess I'll take first watch. She gets up and gets a gun.
I think I'm gonna go make some coffee.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then my last note is actually explained because I forgot who Mr. Creed was, but you told me. Oh, actually, no. That's
Hang
a
on.
different person. Never.
Yeah,
No.
'cause-
Who? No. Hang on. So
Huh?
I was thinking of who they went to with the picture, but no. Mr. Creed is the person who called, giving David the quote unquote job to caretake here. Who the fuck is he?
Did not. Fuck. I didn't actually check this out, but I'm gonna go to
Because
a Bad Night story, and see if he maybe popped up in there.
I looked back a couple of entries searching for Creed and it didn't show up. They didn't even talk about the band. So I don't know.
God damn it,
Mr. Creed, as in the vocalist, the main guy of Creed. But no, because I'm assuming that this is just someone being puppeted by Lilith and demons and stuff just to get someone in the house for feeding purposes. Because, like, I don't think that there was any legitimacy to his job there as a caretaker there.
Again, yeah, I think you're 100%. Like Mr. Creed, I think Mr. Creed is basically like a tie between there's some kind of link between Lilith and the Wicker House and Mark's Pharmaceutical, because clearly Mark's Pharmaceutical and their CEO was dabbling in some weird fucking supernatural shit. So like I think that this is like perhaps like the connection between the two. Between the two industries, or between the two factions, basically, perhaps like Mr. Creed might be like a third party sort of like mediary.
And I just had a critically silly moment.
Excellent.
So I searched for Creed, and the first sentence is, "The man gave his name as Creed and identified himself as human. Resources rep."
Hello,
I mean,
Creed. I am a human, just like you. I'm a human.
Again, between like aliens and like aliens and stuff of that in some stories, and a lot of demons in some of the others. I mean, you're not wrong to think to have that. I'm not even seeing it in like the fishing story with like the old gods, so or the Lonely Star one. So I don't, unless we're missing Mr. Creed from one of the previous stories. I think he's new.
Yes, I believe so as well.
Yeah. So
yeah. So do you basically think that he is working with Lilith and all that?
Yeah.
For one way or another.
Yeah. No, he's definitely like some individual or entity that like is perhaps either working for the Wicker House, like Lilith and the Wicker House like side of things, or he's working with them and Mark's Pharmaceuticals, Mr. Marks, the CEO of that company.
Yeah.
And there's
so
some
Lilith's
kind of
like, Creed, you done fucked up with Mark's Pharmaceuticals, and I'm hungry. I need you to send me someone over here to eat.
Send me an.
I'm ordering delivery right now.
yeah. Mr. Creed's Uber Eats for hell.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and even the name, like again, like we were laughing, it's like he worked like the song the band Creed, but like a creed is also like kind of like a religious like kind of or like oath or something like that, isn't it? Like, isn't that what a creed stands for? So, or what is that meaning?
It's a belief thing,
a system of Christian or other religious belief, a faith.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very much tied. Like again, it's definitely got to have something to do with Lilith. It might have to do with Lilith and Mark. Like Mark, the whole like, I represent like the HR for
Guild.
Yeah, I represent the HR of Mark. I mean, you're not wrong, because Marx was doing some really weird shit with like kids. So
that's true. Yeah.
But again, like that may not have just been like a front, like or like a ploy to get David and Sarah and Samantha to the Wicker House. It might have actually been that like he does represent like the supernatural dark side of that company, as well as Lilith and her faction. Or they might all be one big faction. Like Lilith might be in cahoots with Mark's Pharmaceuticals. Now that I'm thinking of it, Mark's Pharmaceuticals might literally be run by demons.
Wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end of my notes.
All right. Well, on to final thoughts then. So yeah, I'm still going to recommend it. Though I do think it's best to read the previous Wicker Saga stories as well, for there are a lot of references to previous stories in this story. Not and it's not like they don't necessarily like it's not like it's not kind of a situation where like there's gonna be like numbers throughout the story and like there's like footnotes of like, oh, please see this scene from the story. It's like the story does kind of do a decent job of like integrating these nods and references into its own story so that like you can just read this story. But I think to get the full experience, you should read the previous Wicker Saga stories in order and then read this one. Like I feel like that's just probably the best way to really enjoy it. One bit of criticism I will give. I felt it was a little quick to get things moving and a tad rushed in certain spots. But I think that's a situational thing with short story writing specifically. It could have gone a little longer in certain areas. And
I prefer that to the previous one where we were just locked in the like abusive father thing for hours.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that like personal preference, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Personally, I like reading about broken toys for my broken home, but
But
yeah, there's just certain spots where like it kind of felt like they were rushing through and like I realized, oh, I've got like 2 pages left to read. Like this is like it feels like there should be more, but like I guess we're gonna tie this up really quickly. That said, again, it wasn't enough for me to like pull this down to a partial or even non-recommendation personally. So I still fully enjoyed it. You may notice that like we don't it doesn't seem like any of us really commented a lot on like the actual like action sequences and like stuff like that, because like I personally, for me, I found myself just like reading through it and I was like, I don't really have any notes here. Like this is pretty fun.
No, there's no notes because it's good. The note is this is all well done and well thought out.
Yeah. So yeah, like that's like personally like the flaws that the story does have were enough for me to like pull down my recommendation. So I'm going to still maintain a full recommendation on the story. Though read the other stories first, perhaps, if you want the full like immersive kind of context of things that are being referenced in the story. So Mikey, these stands for evil.
All right. So, as stated, I was very disappointed in the lack of bloodthirsty oak trees.
Yeah, clearly, yeah. We needed more. We needed Ents. We need carnivorous Ents.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eating bars and eating people.
Because they just don't give a fuck, right? Like
they are the honey badgers of horror. How does your mind work sometimes? No,
well, yeah, that and the
fathom his twisted mind,
and the whole myself not catching that the parents were dead when I should have.
Yep. You're right. You should have. No.
Yeah. That's what lowers the score for me.
Because of your problem, you're penalizing the stories. I'm just kidding, buddy.
I'm saying other people will have the same problem.
Yes, other cosmic demons. No, you're right. Yeah, you're like this. Yeah, it is a. Yeah.
Yeah, and as we pointed out, that's a grammar inquisition technically.
Yeah, docking points.
Yeah. So, but as stated, it is an enjoyable read for the sort of supernatural aspects of it, and aliens, and the bright lights, which is just the Mack truck.
Absolutely.
The mundane, just like, hey, like road hypnosis happens.
Yep. Yeah, I'm still only going to give it a partial.
Fair. All right, and then we have Gamer.
Yeah. So for me, reading this is probably one of the most like cinematic reads of the series. I feel like with the action sequences and just the way that everything was described, it was very visual to me. And there's like enough backstory for the characters that you care if something happens to them. And if you've read all the other Wicker Story ones, all the references, like you already cared about those characters and they're put here, so you double care. But yeah, that part was all good. I liked how the dreams were sort of like an actual projection sort of thing, like from Shadowrun. Sorry, Mikey. And like how her daughter was like helping her in her own astrally projected dream as well. And probably helping before, during, and after all that stuff happened too, because she's just like aware of everything all the time.
So Sarah has some kind of like negative quality that allows her to like uncontrolled, basically astral projection when she's sleeping.
Yes.
And then her daughter is clearly got the probably a mystic adept quality, or like the I'd say, or like perhaps even a mage, like the mage quality.
Magician.
The magician quality to allow her to actually like be able to use like spells and stuff. So she actually just used power bolt on to repel Lilith, or perhaps
dude,
even, like,
it was a mana barrier. Yeah,
mana barrier. Yeah, it was clearly a mana barrier. Yep.
Yeah. Really sorry, Mike.
Yeah, Mikey. Sorry, Mikey.
These things happen though.
Check out the Mystic Adepts campaign that's going to be popping up on One Less Die, our sister podcast.
Hell yeah! Is that actually not posted yet?
I'll be posting. Well, I'll be posting the sequel to GTS Mystic Adepts in the coming weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of curious if this is like this isn't the end of the Wicker Saga, right? I didn't click ahead yet.
I think we've got a few more from Shadow Swimmer in the series. Okay, so we're on Sarah's story.
43 ahead.
We have 10 more. We have 10 more stories to cover in the Wicker Saga.
Damn.
Yeah. The next one is called Dreams of Inheritance. And the summary is: nothing will stand between a man and the treasure he plans to inherit. So it may not have to do with I'm not sure if it'll have to do with the current one, but again, we'll I think as it goes on, we'll probably get more and more context and maybe more and more like progress in the timeline of things. Because that's another thing to remember is like we are reading these stories, and some of them are sometimes like not in a chronological order. Like we're kind of going back and forth through history to like learn about like events and even some characters that might show up later.
Yeah, case in point, this one, these characters go to the start of a story we've already read. Yeah, and like again, Morgan, like we've seen Morgan now like 3 times through her life, like as a child in Fog and Firelight, as a lady in the Fog. We saw Morgan as a like 12-year-old child, and then before that, we saw her like probably in like the 80s or something like that, where she was a bit older and taken on like vampires, and then now we're seeing her probably in her like a little bit like later in her life, like she's got like streaks of gray and like gray hair, and she's an older woman. So like, and I thought I remember seeing there was like a timeline for the Wicker Saga somewhere, but that actually kind of gives us like where it is in the timeline, but I can't seem to find it. But regardless, yeah, like we're going to keep reading these Wicker Saga stories and try and get to the end. And this was a strong one for just like a strong push toward like, oh, things are coming together kind of thing. So sorry, Gamer, your actual like final verdict. Oh, I hated it. It was just the worst.
Oh, yeah, fair enough,
yeah. But no, it was really good. I like to read.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, 2 full recommendations and 1 partial recommendation. And that'll do it for this week's episode. So if you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below. This gets posted. Some of us are on Blue Sky. Mikey is at the E stands for evil, and I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, CPs, spooky things. You creep it, we'll peep it. Yeah! And if you'd like to help support our show financially, you can go to Patreon. We have special episodes, early access, and extra content. To all our patrons helping support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely, because without your listenership, it'd be like screaming into the void. And without your authorship, without these stories that you write and post online for people to get spooked by and enjoy, we really wouldn't have much of a show because we'd have nothing to talk about. So thank you. Now's a good time to mention that we are a part of a podcast network, Crit in the Night, an actual play and creepypasta podcast network. We're there alongside our sister podcast, as we mentioned earlier, One Less Die, and our cousin podcast, The Role Playing Exchange, for things that go crit in the night. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.